Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well this Monday morning. Ready for another week. Hope you have a good one. Weekends go by so fast, don't they? They just fly right by. Pretty much everything flies by for me anymore. It really is true. The older I get, the faster time goes by. I cannot believe it's August. Can you believe it's almost August? Can you believe that? Where did our summer go? Where did our spring go? Seems like just yesterday it was, I was putting up Christmas decorations and worrying about our tree and things like that. And now it's August. I'll be worrying about all that again pretty quick. It'll be Christmas again. I can't believe it. It's just crazy. So we've still been having ample rain here in Brasstown. I'm so thankful for it. It's drizzling, as we'd say, just a little bit. And then I think later this week we're supposed to have some really sunshiny days, so that will be great. I see some little hummingbirds down there on my phlox. I just happened to look and see one. The garden's still doing pretty good. This is definitely not going to be one of our best gardening years, go down in the history books or anything for that. Our tomatoes are great, and the cabbage was really good. And if you watched that video last night, you saw that. But other stuff, that dry, long stretch of dry weather for all of June and a lot of July, up until the first 2 weeks of July or 3 weeks of July. And that's the prime growing season there. And just that drought, it just really hurt everything, really, really hurt stuff. But we're very thankful for the stuff we have been getting out of the garden. And I've been putting up stuff. It's what we would say, putting up. What are you going to put up? I put up my kraut. I put up all the cabbage. So I'll share a video about that later this week. And I've made the blackberries started out really great. But again, the dry weather just got them. So I made, I think, 1 run or 2 runs of jelly. We did get our grapes harvested, and instead of making jelly, I was in a hurry, so I just canned the juice, which I can then use the juice to make jelly. I'm ready, and that's been great. It's been wonderful. And so I've made pickles, some more pickles. I would like to make some bread and butter pickles. I may have to go buy some of the stuff for that. And I wanted to make some North Carolina chow recipe that I've not made in a couple of years. So I'd like to make that. It uses a lot of cabbage. So I have some cabbage left from my kraut and canned coleslaw. So I want to do that. So let's see. So I'm sorry, Laura Lee. She's telling me the connection's not good. My internet was funny when I first tried to sign on, but it seems like it's stable now. I'm sorry. Maybe it's between me and you. We're a long way apart. I know. Sorry about that, though. Anyway, really exciting time of the year when it gets to be August, when you start thinking about harvesting, and putting stuff to bed in the garden. Now the cabbage is gone till next year. The beets are gone till next year. I made pickled beets too. I forgot about the beets, so I did that. Made pickled beets. Those things are gone till next year. So little by little, this time of the year, things start going away. Let's see. Somebody else is telling me the connection not good here. If y'all can't hear me, should I just stop? You'll have to tell me if I should stop or keep going. Then more, it's breaking up and okay. I'm trying to read. Keep going. Okay, I'll keep going. That's so annoying. I'm sorry. I wonder if I can change to now. I see now that I look back up here, it's like it was when I first come out. So it's probably on my end. It's something going on in my area. I hear one of my deer alarms going off down in the garden. All right. Yes, buffering. I'm sorry. All right, Laura Lee. I guess I'll just keep going. I wonder if I should try to switch. Maybe it'll improve. But it is, I do think it's on my end, because it's when I first come out here, it was like I didn't even have any internet. But my laptop had the had died, so I thought, well, maybe it was just that. Anyway, I asked for that. Let's see, talking about putting up food, that was one thing I wanted to say, so I've been doing that. A lot of people ask us if, like thinking about ferment and stuff like the kraut that I've made last at the end of last week. What kind of water do we use? Well, I never think about things like that because I have well water, so I forget that there's people that have chlorinated water if you live on like city water, or if you live in a place where even if you're out in the country, you have like water that comes from the county or whatever. So I really don't know the answers to those questions. I took a class one time about making kraut, and the lady there I think she lived in Atlanta. So she said she definitely had chlorinated water. And she said that what she had found, and that wasn't that big of an issue, but what you could do is like set it out overnight and then the chlorination dissipate, I guess is what she was meaning. So that might be something that you could think about. I don't know. I guess since I'm not never lived anywhere where I had city water, I just don't know. I'm really thankful to have well water, and we have good water, and I'm really, really thankful about it. But that's a question that I'm just not sure about. Some of you may know though, so um, you can leave that in the comments and help each other out there. So let's see. Oh, I was going to share something I thought was funny. Granny, do you know what her favorite show is? She loves the Alone show, if you know what that is. I've never really watched it, but it's where they put people on an island or somewhere in the remote areas, and then they have to survive, and whoever is left at the end wins the prize. She really loves that show, and it's one day, that was last week or maybe the week before, I had called her and she said she was laying down. I said, well, oh no, are you feeling bad? And she said, no, I'm not feeling bad. I'm just going to rest so then I can watch my show tonight. And I said, oh, well, what show are you watching? And she said, Alone. So there must be like a new season going on or something. So I just thought that was funny that's Granny's favorite show. She also likes the Mountain Men, if you've ever seen that show, where it kind of shows different men in different areas of the country and then kind of checks in with them. It's just funny to me that Granny loves that. On that one, she really loves Eustace. I don't even know if that show still comes on. It may be over now, but she really loved Eustace. So that was funny, I thought. So I've been sharing music every week. Well, last week, I talked about the fiddle music about David Kaner. Well, that sent me on a journey of fiddle music. And so I've been listening to this week to another one of my favorites who's actually connected to David Kaner. So it's Jay Unger and Molly Mason. And probably my favorite one of them is Waltzing with You. That's my favorite CD of them. All of their music is great. And they were friends of David's, so they do some of David's songs, and really wonderful for us. At one time on one of their little radio like shows, they did one of Katie's songs. They did Spiderweb Canyon, which was really, really touching to us. And they had learned it from David. That's how they learned it. So anyway, I really love it. This CD, The Waltzing with You, is like a soundtrack to a movie, Brother's Keeper. It's a real interesting story, really true story. It happened like in the upstate New York, I think, and that's where the areas where they're from. Interesting story, but the music is beautiful, beautiful, and it's all composed by them and performed by them, of course. So it's really wonderful. But one of my favorite songs let's see if I can put it in here, is that they do is the Fiddler's Elbow. I just love it. I could just listen to it all day long. And all of their music is really polished and beautiful and haunting. And some of it's peppy and upbeat too. But all of it is perfect. It puts you in the mind of, I hear their music and I could just picture myself being in a movie, or just watching someone else be in the movie. It's really moving, powerful music. But Jay Unger and Molly Mason, and you can find them really a lot on YouTube. So you could just do a little search and find them if you've never heard of them. But if you love that type of just kind of comforting, powerful music, some of them's got like all fiddle tunes. There's some that's real happy and upbeat, some that's just real, like butterflies and blue sky, and then some that are really, got those minor chords in it that are really stirring to your heart, or at least to mine. So Jay Unger and Molly Mason, you can check them out. And I think that was about as far as, I've got to remind you that Alexander's store in Blairsville, Georgia, and I'll be there from 11 till 2, signing cookbooks. They have cookbooks for sale. So if you don't have a cookbook, if you have a cookbook and you want to bring it and let me sign it, that would be great. Or if you just want to come say hello, that would be great too. So that's where we'll be. And I don't know who will come with me, if it'll just be me all by myself, all by my own self, or if somebody will be able to come with me. And then on October 19th, from 11 till 2, me and Jim will be with me. We're going to be at Knoxville at the historic Ramsey House in Knoxville. So we're really excited me and Jim both. We love to meet all of you. And I can't believe that August 3rd is already here, and I'll be getting to meet some of you this Saturday. So that will be really, really nice. So I think I'm ready for the words of wisdom. I'm so glad that you continue to leave the words of wisdom. It inspires me. Words of wisdom. I'm so glad that you continue to leave the words of wisdom. It inspires me. Mouth, overload your canary hind end. Only he was a little more colorful about it. I always think of that before I say something that might get me in deep waters. Your mouth can get you in trouble faster than anything. So true. Thank you, Elizabeth. That is very colorful. I like it a lot. This is from Saner, one of our real commenters that comment all the time, really supports us. LOL, my mother had a bad habit of volunteering my father's time to help out her friends. He'd say, I wish you'd stop letting your mouth overload my behind. That's how he pronounced it. Dads are priceless if you have a good one. I sure agree with that. I had a really good daddy, and I'm thankful that my husband is a good daddy to his daughter. So really love that. Thank you. This is from Denise. I've also heard God gave us 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth, meaning we should listen and watch twice as much as we talk. I've heard that one, and that is really good. That's a good one to teach to children. To adults too. Sometimes we need to hear it, but that's a great one. Thank you, Denise. This was from one KY Sugar. I'm thinking that's probably Kentucky Sugar. A stitch in time saves 9. That's a really old one, but one we should keep going. So true. That's a really good one. Again, to teach children, or even for me, I'm bad to hurry, so I need to pay attention to that one. Uncle Sasquatch says, as a boy, I was prone to worry. Well, I still do that sometimes. I would fret over things in the past, and Mom would say, son, that's water under the bridge. Also, I would worry about things in the future, and she would say, things you worry about the most seem to happen the least. That is so true. Pap used to tell me, I've shared this many times with you, but that reminds me of that. He would tell me, Tipper, don't meet trouble halfway. Most of the time it don't ever get here. So you're meeting it halfway when I was worrying about something. So thank you, Uncle Sasquatch. Lisa says, I sometimes tell one of my granddaughters when she's pouting, pick up your lip from the floor before you step on it. If you've ever seen a little kid pout, Corey and Katie were not bad to pout, neither one of them. They were disappointed, but then they just get over it. But they had a little friend, and she was just a pouter, like just all the caricatures and stuff you've seen was just her. Sweet little girl, but she would just pout, and her lip would run out, and she'd sit there and look all sad. And if her mom and daddy told her not to do something. Donna said, my mom would say there are more people riding the wagon than pulling it. As a pastor's wife, she was familiar with more people running the show or reaping the benefits than those doing the work. So I've heard that one before, that too. That's a good one. There's more people riding the wagon than pulling it. This was from Kim. Tipper, my daddy used to say whenever we passed a fancy car on the road, I wish I had that car and they had a feather in their ear. Then we'd both be tickled. That's not really wisdom, but it's just sweet. And I love that. I love those sayings that we say to each other, whether it's in your direct family like that or among friends like us. I really love that. Margaret said, my mom always said you tend your own knitting. That's a great one. I've heard lots of variations of that one. I used to work with a man, and he said his daddy would say, keep your bowl in your own spoon, keep your spoon in your own bowl, keep your spoon in your own bowl. And it's kind of the same thing, as we should all mind our own business instead of worrying about what somebody else is doing. Kimberly said, my mama used to say when someone did something to try to help with a problem but didn't help, well, that was about as much use as a paper possum. I've never heard that, but I like that. As much use as a paper possum. That's good. This was from Phyllis. It's good to have money and the things money can buy, but it's good too to check up once in a while to make sure you haven't lost the things money can't buy. So, of course, the most valuable things are those that money just can't buy. Like I was talking about being thankful I had a good daddy and that Matt's a good daddy. That just, you can't buy that. So that's so true. Misty said, my mom would say lots of old sayings. One she often said, when they're little, they walk on your toes. When they're big, they walk on your heart. I suppose that was applying to a child growing into an adult. It's hard letting go. Another one is, it's hard to soar with eagles when you fly with buzzards. That one's really good. If you think about flying with a bunch of buzzards and then thinking that you should be as regal and wonderful and majestic as an eagle, and you're just not because you're hanging out with the buzzards. The first one that Misty shared, I've heard that. I can remember one of my aunts telling me, and some of my other cousins, that when our kids, Corey and Katie, and then their kids was little, and they were really getting on our nerves. We was at some kind of gathering or something, and she said, right now they're stepping on all your toes, but someday they'll step on your hearts, and you'll be missing this when you could, you kind of wrangle them and keep them doing what you thought they should do. Jean, I don't know if it's Jeannie or Jean. I'm sorry, Taylor. Tipper, my paternal grandparents were both very quick, as it is said of people that had great sayings. Grandma would say, if you're going to dance, you got to pay the fiddler. Burning the candle at both ends makes for a miserable man. And a little limerick she made for me. I was always a chubby, short child, and cousins would always make hurtful comments to me. So one day she told them all, shape, remember girdles are $2.98. I'll always remember that as long as I live. It was hilarious. That's so sweet of her. I mean, really, I'd like to know her grandma, wouldn't you? And it reminds me, some people are just so quick with their wit like that, and they can just say stuff. I can't even sit and think about it. But Katie and Matt are both like that. I guess Katie gets it from Matt. They're both like that. They can just instantly come up with Matt can make, and both of them can just make little sayings that rhyme just off the top of their head, just on the spot if something happens. Matt has been doing, he did that with Corey and Katie, but he's been doing that with little Ira, and he's made up some funny songs for him. So thank you for sharing that one. Sandy said, Tipper, I've always told my kids and now my grandkids, having good integrity means doing the right thing even when no one is watching you. That's so true. So true. If you gotta do the right thing all the time, not just when people are watching you. This was from Linda. Love your Monday live time. I'm not sure if I shared this one. In my elementary school years, autograph albums were popular, not just for famous people's autographs, but for family and friends to sign and leave a thought. My sister wrote this in mine. You will like it, Tipper. It's about snow. I have never forgotten it. Your life lies out before you like a field of drifted snow. Be careful how you treat it, for every step will show. God bless your family. Thank you, Linda. That is so wise and so beautiful. And yeah, I do like it because it's about the snow. I like that. And I also like it because you reminded me, we did that in elementary school. I need to contact some of my old friends from elementary days and ask them, but I remember doing it for several years. It was like the thing to do at the end of school year. You would, when you're a kid, you felt like like, in fifth grade, sixth grade, something like that, and school was out, you felt like it was going to be just forever until you seen your friends again, till you were back at school. And so we would all get autograph books, and we would walk around and ask people to sign them. I bet I've still got one of mine somewhere. I should try to find it. And we'd ask the teachers to sign them. And I don't know who, I guess it must have just been, I'm sure the older kids at Martins Creek started it, and then it just kept coming down to us. I don't know, but I hadn't thought about that in forever. So thank you, Lindon. Thank you for sharing that. And this is SD Raven. SD Raven. We grew up extremely poor, homeless a couple of times. My mom used to say, nothing's ever so bad that it couldn't get worse. Now, whenever I think I'm going through a hard time, that saying makes me grateful no matter what. Oh, such wisdom in that one. I mean, not just wisdom, but like a determination, like a hopefulness. All that is wrapped up in that. Nothing's ever so bad that it couldn't get worse. Kind of despair too, like, oh goodness, look where I found myself. But really, the hopefulness and determination I just love. Thank you for sharing that. Shirley says, Tipper, one of my favorite words of wisdom is on a plaque on my wall. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. We all have problems and troubles, but life is still good. That is so true. So true. So often, us humans, we look for perfection, whether it's whatever it is. You think about the stuff I was putting up, or like me, I'm mad that my connection was messed up. I'm looking for perfection, but it can still be good. It can still be beautiful. So true, Shirley. Thank you. This is from Shelley. I really enjoy these lives, Tipper. We'll be sending prayers for those mentioned. Thank you. Here's some wisdom from my dad. Mind your own beeswax, cornbread, and shoe tacks. And one of my favorites, let the slick end slide and the rough end bump. I think I've heard that one. I've not heard the other one though from her dad. Mind your own beeswax, cornbread, and shoe tacks. We did used to say mind your own beeswax, but not those others. I'm gonna have to remember that. Mind your own beeswax, cornbread, and shoe tacks. That's perfect for me because I love cornbread so much. Thank you, Shelley. This one is from Cheryl. My 97-year-old precious mom told me the other day that her mom always said, always taste your words before you say them. My dad always told us to look down the road and see how it's going to be before you get there. Dad also would say, come up to the lick log, meaning to own up to it. He also would say, shell the corn down, meaning to tell the truth. And he always told me when I was a kid that I was anybody's dog that would hunt with me. All of those are so wonderful, Cheryl. Thank you so much. I love that. I love them all, but especially the always look down the road and see how it's going to be before you get there. So often we just jump into stuff. I know I do, and you got to hold back. Corey and Katie are worse than me. I really always tried to tell them, you got to hold back and make your decisions before you just accept or jump into or whatever. But so all of those are great. And I love the old saying, so colorful, about come to the lick log, to own up, admit that you've done something, and then shell the corn down to mean tell the truth. Those are just great. Thank you. Angie says, hi, Tipper, just love your live videos. Speaking of sayings, my Uncle Philip used to say they could wear the horns off a billy goat. I've heard talk the horns off a billy goat too. When talking about someone hard to deal with, ha ha. Now I say it too. Also, my sweet grandma used to tell us there's not a pot too crooked that a lid won't fit. She was meaning that there is someone out there for everyone. Isn't that great? A great way to put it. There's not a pot too crooked that a lid won't fit. I just love that. This one is from, I just have to spell it out because I probably can't, I'll mess up how it's supposed to be said, but SHMATABORO 8634. Wisdom saying from my two grandmothers. Mom, my dad's optimistic mother, would say, we try to forget the unpleasant things. Mamaw, my mama's mama, would often advise us, don't borrow trouble. I say borrow. That's how I say it. Like if I got to go down to Granny's mat and borrow some sugar from to make whatever I'm going to make, or got to see if Corey will let me borrow a apple or a tomato or whatever it is that I need. So I say borrow. But I love that too. The first one, we try to forget the unpleasant things. I think sometimes we should. I mean, there's different thoughts, school of thought, of course. Some people think that you should really, and both are good. I should say that it just depends on the person. But if you should really talk through something bad and look at it from all the angles and try to kind of sort through it and then put it to rest. And then there's some people like me who think you should just tuck it down somewhere and try to forget about it. For me, that works better. If I dwell on something and try to look at it from every angle, I just end up feeling worse and worse and worse. So that one I identify with. We try to forget the unpleasant things. Gloria said, I watched Brenda Gantt's channel, and she told a story about how she broke a bowl that had been in the family for years, and she was so upset about it. And her mother-in-law said, Brenda, it was only a bowl. So now they use that saying in their family. Isn't that great? And Brenda has a great channel. If you've never seen it, go watch. She's a wonderful cook. Wonderful videos. Brenda Gantt. It's a great channel, and you can learn a lot and see a lot of good eating. But I love that how that just become part of their family. It's only a bowl. This was from Aunt Minor, VASIKLERS 7764. Dear Ab said that you can't be treated like a doormat if you're not in the floor. That's good advice. If you want somebody to not treat you like a doormat, then don't lay in the floor. That's a good one. This is from Christy. Words of wisdom. When my granny and papa wanted to get married, her daddy would not give his consent. She would try to talk to her mama about it, and her mama would tell her, you're jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. My granny and papa decided to elope, and so one night she wrote her parents a note, and it said, I'm about to jump out of the frying pan into the fire. They were married 40-something years before my grandpa passed away. They had 8 kids and a happy life. I miss them both every day. That's really a sweet story. Really a sweet story. I've heard that saying my whole life about, you're jumping out of the frying pan right into the fire. You better be careful. It's go back to the one a minute ago about the daddy that said you got to look down the road and see where you're going. That's the same thing. But what a sweet story that then that's how she told her parents that she wrote that down. How sweet. And then 40 something years. What an accomplishment. Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful. I think that was all. I think that's all the ones I had. Thank you so much for continuing to leave them. We'll just continue to share them. I think it's really wonderful to focus on the wisdom and to enjoy the funny ones and the heartwarming ones too. It's wonderful to share stories and encourage each other. I hope all of you have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead, and I hope that you enjoyed visiting with me this morning. I'm so sorry about the little part at the beginning. I think maybe that's straightened up some. Sorry about that. I should have known, but then I thought, well, it looks like it's better now. Maybe it's the overcastness of the day is messing with something, or somewhere something's going on. But I'm always glad when you stop by to help me celebrate Appalachia and visit with me for a spell. And I hope all of you have a really, really wonderful week. I love you all. Bye-bye.